Welcome to our first special Christmas episode. Before we move on to the jolly stuff, I would like to say that this episode is dedicated to the memory of Ben Versteg of Byte Delight, that sadly passed away a few days before the production of the episode was complete. In the last episode, we review one of the many wonderful Byte Delight devices that only makes more prominent the void he leaves behind to our community. Now on to our Christmas show, and before anything else, I would like to personally thank each and every one of our subscribers, old and new, that have embraced our channel and in less than a year helped us pass the 20,000 subscriptions milestone. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we promise to keep on bringing you the best we can for our retro hobby. So, today on this double feature we have for you in our new retro games, FloppyVerse, an ingenious puzzle game for the ZX Spectrum 128K by Juan GM, along with Puppix, the Cabbage Forest for Commodore 64 by Pinov Vox. Also, we review a miracle in programming in the face of Street Fighter II for the Atari XL XE series of computers. Amazing, right? But there are two more reviews this week with Egg Feud for Commodore 64, a fun little platformer, and also The Incredible Tale of a Pirate for the ZX Spectrum, a multi-genre game of swashbuckling adventures. In our special hardware review, we undertake the huge task of comparing three forms of portable retro gaming options: the Evercade series of portable consoles, the Anbernic consoles, and finally the original portable consoles of our youth, and find out which is the best method to relive your childhood. In our DOS Vault, we review the unbelievable Mini Doom 2, a platform iteration of the classic MS-DOS FPS of the 90s. We also review what must surely be the most unique aesthetically game we've seen so far, Effulgence RPG. Finally, we remember the quite weird, unique, and fun 3D run-and-gun MDK by Shiny Entertainment. In our retro adventures, we dive into the mysteries of the beautiful and airy If on a Winter's Night for Travelers by Laura Hunt. We also look back in our Retrospect review into the hilarious adventure of Roger Wilco in the continuing saga of Space Quest with Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Reapers. Finally, our special Christmas episode is concluded with the finale of the Wars saga and the biggest war yet, the Amiga versus Atari war that shook the industry to its core and was the last major event before the beginning of the PC era. We hope you'll enjoy our special feature, and we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2026. Welcome to the first Christmas review, and this is FloppyVerse for the ZX Spectrum 128K from Juan GM. Now this is a puzzle game, but unlike any you've ever played. You control a little droid as it tries to recover all floppy disks in each and every level and transfer all that information to his spaceship, a computer terminal in fact. Now the game has you moving continuously to a specific direction each time, and only by pressing one of the directional buttons you can change the direction of the droid, which will not stop moving in that direction again. The game is a puzzle game, but it is extremely fast. The graphics of the game are very well drawn, even if the sprites are in single color, but that avoids the color class mostly. It is a very smart and devilishly addictive mechanism. The music and the sound effects of the game are excellent, and it really makes the ZX Spectrum chipset shine. This is a very fast, very smart puzzle game, unlike any we've ever seen. On to the rankings, and the graphics receive a 9. The music and sound effects a 9.2. The controls a 9.1. And the gameplay a 9.5, for a total of 9.2. This is probably the best puzzle game of the year for the ZX Spectrum, and you will truly miss out if you miss the opportunity to play it. Brilliant! Our next game is Puppix the Cabbage Forest. This is an action game, a sideways scrolling action game, and you play as Puppix, which is an obvious reference to the Popeye character. And you're going out to meet your beloved Olga. You saw something wrong. There was a purple fog surrounding Olga's house. Must be the evil witch Evelia. And his arch nemesis, the sailor Butch. Definitely an homage to the Popeye characters. Now, the game has a bit of weird controls, let's say. The character slides a bit, and even though he is very strong, as we can see from his big arms, it's not so easy to attack an enemy, or at least survive attacking an enemy, and most of the time it's better to just dodge their presence. You must collect enough coins to get extra lives and try to get alive to the end of all stages to face the evil Evelia. The graphics are very wonderful, with good animation, although a bit blocky. The music is fun and entertaining, and like I said, the controls could use a little improvement, but it's still a pretty fun game. Now, the graphics receive an 8.5. The controls, an 8. The music and sound effects, a 9. And the gameplay, an 8.7. For a total of 8.55. This is a fun little game, a cartoony little game that you will enjoy as long as you get used to the controls and the kind of elevated difficulty level. But still, it's a great little game. Honest to God, I thought I've seen it all. But this goes beyond 3D FPS on a Commodore 64 or a ZX Spectrum. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Street Fighter II for the Atari XL XE series of computers. And no, it's not some crappy, shoddy port. This is the full game, and it's unbelievably good. Now, this is a creation or conversion by Christoph Vega-Gora, Sim, Gaspar, Miker, and Jen KP. As you can see, the graphics are simply amazing for the old 8-bit platform, and it really shows what a little bit of wonder was the Atari series of computers, the 8-bit series. All the music, the sound effects, even the digitized speech samples are here. The game, of course, is a bit on the slow side, but that's to be expected with such huge sprites for the platform and the full gameplay. There are even all the secret moves and the combos here. I don't know what's left to say. This was a wonderful surprise and a little programming miracle coming from some people that are truly masters on this platform. This is an amazing effort, and not just for the looks. It plays wonderfully too. The rankings are as follows. The graphics receive a 9.6. The music and sound a 9.7. The controls a 9. And the gameplay a 9.2, for a total of 9.4, and the title of the Game of the Week. But don't worry, we'll also have a Game of Christmas. Now this is simply amazing and something you have to see in action to believe. Now this is Egg Feud for the Commodore 64 by Donut80. It's a fun little platformer where you play as a little duck, try to collect all the eggs and return them to the nest, and avoid various dangers such as foxes, fires, boomerangs, traps, arrows. The game is kind of a combination like a Chucky Egg and at the same time a Rick Dangerous game, but on a single screen format. The graphics are really cute and clear, and they have wonderful animation. The controls won't give you any trouble, they're pretty good implemented, and the music and sound effects is also great. It's a simple but fun little game that combines two other known games. Definitely recommend it, and let's see the rankings. The graphics will receive a 9. The controls a 9.1. The music and sound effects a 9. And the gameplay a 9.1. For a total of 9.5. This is a fun little game, and it's a solid effort that will give you fun times. And here we go with the last new retro game review of the year. And this is The Fate of the Pirate, a high seas adventure by Ariel and Darius. This is an excellent combination of genres. It kind of reminds me of Pirate's Gold by Sid Meier. It's a fun little game. Well, not little, it's a fun grand high seas game for the ZX Spectrum. You play as a pirate who, after having lost his wife and his kid, tries to go to the mysterious lighthouse in order to restore its light and bring back his beloved ones. Now you're going to face many dangers at sea, including other pirates, krakens, and all sorts of traps. You will fight in platforming sections, in ship battle sections. You will receive maps and all kinds of stuff. The game combines many genres in an excellent way. The graphics are really well made for the ZX Spectrum, with almost no color class. The music is great, so are the sound effects. The controls are very simple and very easy to get used to. The gameplay is addictive, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Now, the rankings are as follows. The graphics receive a 9.1. The controls a 9.4. The music and sound effects a 9. And the gameplay a 9.2. For a total of 9.2. This is the greatest maybe high seas adventure for the ZX Spectrum, and a great game that will keep you company for many hours. Well done! Welcome to the Christmas episode of our hardware review. And for this special episode, we are having a kind of a competition. Now I've decided, and thanks to a tip from a couple of friends, to make a sort of hardware comparison, let's say, for the best way to emulate portable systems. So, we're gonna see which one is it. Is it the Anbernic series of systems? They're sturdy, they're well built, they've been around for quite a while now, and if you make the right choice, the careful right choice, you may end up with a great experience. We're gonna see 3 models that I currently own and see how they fare. Is it the Evercade? The Evercade has also kind of long history lately. They recently pulled out this new series, the Super Pocket. It's a portable version of their Evercade series of game consoles, and I think they're quite good, but we'll see that together, along with the Evercade EXP or EXP. I don't have yet the newer version. It's on its way, but you know, holiday season, things get delayed. Finally, we will see if the best way is to use one of the many SD flash cards for the original systems, like the Game Gear flash card, let's say, or the Game Boy flash card. And if the best method indeed to relive your childhood in a portable way is, well, to actually play it on the original system with one of these flash cards. I wanted to include the Atari Lynx as well, but a few days ago my Atari Lynx had a bad morning, let's say it. I have another one on its way. Again, holiday seasons, I don't know if it's gonna be here on time. If it's gonna be, I might add a little insert to the episode at the end. So, what do you say we go and check all these out and see how they do? Let's go. All right, we'll begin a bit backwards. We're gonna start with the most, let's say, middle solution. This is by Blaze, the new Super Pocket. It's the new, more portable version of the Evercade series of consoles. It's a wonderful little device. It's really light, but it doesn't feel cheap. I must say this, it's light but not cheap. There are the triggers here, volume up, volume down. You got the charging USB port on off and for headphones. And that's pretty much it. This is a protective cartridge, doesn't do anything, it just protects the slot from dust. It's a bit stiff to get out. Let's just try one of the cartridges. I have plenty. The cartridges really look like the good old days. You know, you get some special cards here. All right. And a manual. Interesting. And, you know, an advertising little brochure about more cartridges. You get directions. It's really cool. It does capture that feeling from the good old days. This is the cartridge. Plug it in until you hear the clack. There. Let's turn it on. Bring it a bit closer to you. Plays entertainment. Gotta bring the volume up. The speaker is quite loud, actually. For a tiny little speaker, it's impressive. Now, these are the games that come with Karate Champ. Let's go to the menu. You have the menu here. You can choose from the games that are pre-installed. Each version of the Super Pocket comes, let's say, sponsored by a classic company. This is the Data East version, so it comes with some Data East pre-installed games. Or you go to the Evercade to read the cartridge we just inserted. Okay, let's start Big Karnak. It's an arcade game I really loved back in the day. Most of them are the arcade versions, unless mentioned otherwise. You will know the controls like a MAME or MAME, I don't know how it's called in your region. Insert coins, press start, and there you go. I'm not going to talk about whether they work or not, stuff like that. Obviously they work. This is a commercial product. This is not emulation. There. The screen is actually really good for its size. And as you will see later on, it's a bit better, I think, than the XP screen, although smaller. So, this is a very, very nice console. It's very well made. I don't know, I'm impressed. I wasn't expecting to find this so well built. Well, let's move on to see its big brother. Let's go here, and let's bring now. This is the Evercade EXP or EXP. Let's get another cartridge for it. Pico Collection. IREM. There is no protective cartridge here on that. And you don't have a clack here. Now, as you can see, this device comes with the speakers, the headphones. Insert, this is the Tate or Tate button. I will show you what it does in a while. You have the menu, start, select, A, B. These keys are for the Tate control. There's also, in this version, an HDMI out. We're going to see it on screen later. The triggers, and of course, on, off, and there is an indication button that it's charging now, because it's been a while since I've used it, so it didn't have much charge in it. There's also a PEGI control, or a PEGI mention here. Let's fire it up. This, of course, feels sturdier, it's heavier, it's bigger. It's not that big though. I mean, we've seen some humongous consoles in the past years. This is not one of them. It's just, you know, big enough. Also good speaker, not as loud as the Pocket, funnily enough. So, This is the cartridge. The X had another function. It had the hidden games. Here. Not gonna ruin the experience for you, I've unlocked some of them. There are actual games that are giveaways every month. There are news when you connect to the internet. The whole process is really fast. It does not connect to a 5G network, you should know that. And then you can go to the cartridge. There. Choose the game or a last save. You have some controls here, coin limit, competition mode, dip switch settings. It's a lot. You can even edit the controls. Let's play. Now this is a classic game, of course, R-Type. Let's bring it in a little closer. Of course, it's emulation again on some level, but you know, insert coin. The screen is great, and it plays great, of course. Now, I wanted to show you, in expense of a life, the tape mode. There. Of course, it's not the right game for it. This is very interesting and a very good bonus if you play the vertical shooters. It's just the push of a button here to go back and forth. Whoops. This is also a great device. It does get louder if you want, but the thing is that if it gets too loud, it gets a little noisy. Now, we'll see how it performs on screen later. Let's move on now to the next opponent, next competitor to our hardware show. Now, next competitor is the Anbernic series. Now, we've recently seen the RG40XXV console that I found to be of great quality, with an amazing screen, but with a lot of issues when it comes to software compatibility, the OS compatibility. Especially, there are problems with various platforms, ways to emulate them correctly. There are alternative operating systems that you can use to improve that, but because Anbernic has made, and it does that sometimes, hardware changes, specifically in this one on the screen, without, let's say, mentioning such a major upgrade to the device, it does not boot the operating system of our choice, the alternative operating system, and that limits your options. Now, recently, I said that on that hardware review, there was another Anbernic on its way, the RG406V, and it was recommended to me as a way better choice. I was told that this will make up for all the problems of the 40. Of course, as I mentioned, my all-time favorite so far was the RG350, which is a metallic, sturdy design. You don't get to see that a lot, even on very high-quality companies. It's a device that works wonderfully. Let's turn it on. With an incredible battery. As I mentioned, the last time I've booted this, before that hardware review, a couple of weeks back, it was like a year ago, a year and a half, and it still retained 87% battery. That was amazing. Now, this works out of the box amazingly. Right? It includes almost everything you might need. And as you can see, this is a great device. It has quite a good speaker. It's an analog switch here. Just choose a game of your choice. It's not fast, it's not slow, it's standing somewhere in the middle, it's satisfactory, it's speed, and there you go. You're good to go. There. Now, like I said, the only problem nowadays, what an amazing game, and how horrible I am to it. Quite. Now, like I said, the only problem with this device was the screen. You may not see it, but this is an old device. Let me exit. And the screen is, well, not the latest and greatest, let's say. It was the one improvement I wanted. The two sticks are not the best on the market, but the filling is quite good. Now this one gave me a lot of trouble. This one really gave me a lot of trouble. Now I don't remember, do I have? Yes, I have it in there. First off, it doesn't always turn on when I push it. There. I ended up with MUOS or Mustard OS. It's the best solution in between at this state of the console. The filling on the stick is good. It's not the best, it's good. The keys though, they're excellent. Just excellent. Yes, I know, it takes a while to boot. If you noticed, it's a bit slower to boot than the RG350. Now, explore content. Yeah, there is no content found because I don't have anything installed in there. This one has a wonderful, wonderful screen. It's good Wi-Fi. The problems are, like I said on the review a few weeks back, that there is a better operating system out there, one that would bring a solution to all the problems it has with scraping and recognizing various platforms, but in this one, which is an upgraded version, I didn't know that, it just doesn't work. The display will not initialize, so until there's an upgrade to this, I cannot really tell you, go for it. And it's a shame. This screen is beyond amazing. Now let's see the latest one now. This one. Now this is the RG406V. It recently came into my arms. Let's put it up. It's here, volume up, down, TF card, reset button, speaker headphones, select start, menu, two really great sticks, really great and wonderful buttons, and of course the triggers. And this here is an exhaust port. There is a fan inside. The reason for this is the hardware, that it's greatly upgraded, the processor. This one runs on Android, and I did have my reservations initially, but they were unfounded, I think. Now let's boot it up. Anbernic. This is a great screen too. It's great. It's not amazing like it was here, but it's a great screen. I just think that if you could combine this screen with this hardware, you would have a dream console. But okay, let's not be grumpy. It also takes a bit to boot. Remember, this is Android, right? This is a touchscreen too. Now, I've installed a custom operating system here, and as you can see, obviously, the Android beneath. These things work perfectly. I didn't have time to install everything here. I'm sorry for this. I do have ZX Spectrum ready. It's the first one I ever do. Right, there's previews. The scraping was automatic and so easy. Oh God, so easy. And it runs smoothly. There you go. Yeah, we need the... As you can see, the screen is great. I have no idea what I just started. So, this is a great device. It's fast. It's easy to configure. It won't give you any problems at all. This is amazing. Just amazing. It's fast, like I said. It's gonna emulate most systems you want. No hyperbole, of course. Don't expect to run PlayStation 3 here or something. Besides, you do know I do not condone piracy. So, yes, I definitely believe that this is an amazing system. Yeah, it's Android. I'm gonna turn it off. Shutting down. So, that's it for the Anbernics. We're gonna see this one with the HDMI out on screen later. And let's move on to the last competitor before we see the ones that have a high definition exit. Now we are at the last part of the hardware review, the external review, let's say, for those that do not connect on a monitor or a TV. And we've got here two legendary consoles, the Game Boy, the color version, and the Game Gear, which was actually my first portable console. So I'm gonna start with this one, I'm biased. Alright, you all know the Game Gear, I guess. It was Sega's answer to the Game Boy. It was a valiant effort. They did manage to sell approximately 11 million pieces, that back in the late 80s and early 90s was quite a fit, especially when you're fighting against a device like the Game Boy that managed to sell, I don't know, 87 million pieces. So, it's color, it's bulky, it was supposed to be bulky. Sega wanted it to look like the Sega Mega Drive controller and to be smaller than the Lynx, but bigger than the Game Boy. You know, the perfect solution. Now, we have the flash card. We reviewed this months ago. It's the Flashmaster ED Pro for the Game Gear. Plug it in, turn it on. Well, you know, screen is not the best. No, I have not changed my screen into something as simple as that. Of course, it runs in 6 batteries. It's a monster. It eats up your batteries fast. Alright, it's a great solution. It's true. It's true. Especially if you have upgraded your console. Yeah. Watching and reviewing at the same time. It works perfectly, yay! So I'm terrible at it. Now, obviously, this is an easy solution. let's see the Game Boy. The legendary Game Boy, this runs on 2 batteries and it lasts like 30 hours, which is one of the reasons the Game Boy crushed all competition back then, even though it was the most primitive of the devices available. Let's turn it on. Yes, I don't know if you can see anything, and that was a problem with the Game Boy until the backlit one. So let's Game Boy Color, European. Okay. Alice in Wonderland. I don't even remember what that is. Ah, there, that's a better view. It uses the whole process that we said before. You know, erase the flash card, write the new ROM to the flash card, load up the new ROM. It's a taxing process. It's not the best, but neither is the specific flash card. So, there you go. Oh dear. Why don't I remember this game? Oh, it's based on a cartoon, I'm guessing. Oh, come on, too much intro. Yeah, it is based on the cartoon. What do you know? I am pressing start. I think my start button gave up. Yes, probably. Or I need to open it up and clean up the device, which is one of the things we're going to speak for in the conclusion of the hardware. Anyway, I wanted to show you this, and I did. So let's turn it off. This was, of course, the Game Boy Color, the official Game Boy Pro, it says, cartridge, right? Obviously, these are great solutions if you have the actual hardware. But we'll talk about what is my problem with this choice in the end. Let's go see the other 2 devices that connect to a high definition output, and how do they perform, and what do they give us. And we'll go straight from there to the conclusions. All right, now let's see the Anbernic. This is the RG40XXV, and we are trying to put it up here. There, the Mustard OS on a high definition output. I don't know if that was supposed to happen. Let's wait for it to boot up and see. I have a small review of the device when it booted up with the stock operating system. There. So, explore content. We got various games here. Yeah, why did I? Sometimes. Okay, let's go to Commodore 64. There's like a bazillion files in there, so it's going to take a while. Ooh, that was faster than expected. Maybe we'll run a homebrew game. Maybe it'll run. Let's say Atlantis. You have to choose the core. And the emulator. And Atlantis again. Oh, Jesus. Alright, my bad. It's the problem with the triggers that I said on the review. I mean, you push them sometimes, even though you don't want to. They're not placed really good. There we go. I did not want the overlay. I was pretty sure I disabled it, but... There. Let's disable the overlay, because I can't see squat. There. Now, this is a really, by the way, this is a really good game. Look behind in our episodes, look back to find the review. Now, this doesn't only have a great screen, but it has a great performance on a high definition output. It's great. It's really great. I only wish there wasn't this problem with the operating systems. But still, this is a good device. This is a very good device. Now, let's go see the Evercade in action. Okay, this is really awkward and weird, but it would seem that the Evercade, let me adjust this, the Evercade EXP is a bit particular with the cables and devices you connect it to. So I'm going to show it on screen like this. I know it's not the best, but I'm sorry for this. It's really not my fault. So, let's see it. Now that's a Tate mode. How did I manage to choose a game in Tate mode? All right. Of course, there's no sound. I don't have speakers here. That's an old game. It does display good. It's a good image. It's fast. It's not as good as the Anbernic, I think, but it is good. It is quite good. But a bit particular with the cables you used. I used two different cables. None of them worked. I plugged them straight into the monitor and voila. Well, anyway, pretty much this is the feeling of it. It is a good output, if a bit weird. And if you do have an EXP, an Evercade EXP, I don't really see the reason for a Versus unless you're interested in two-player modes. So take that into heed as well. All right, we've seen all the consoles has to offer. Let's go and sum it up. Now this has been quite the review comparison to all this. It was quite amazing for me too. Now in the conclusions, as I said before, I know this will find a lot of people in disagreement. They're gonna tell me, okay, John, it's the fact that you can play it on original hardware, that's the actual hardware retro experience. But preserving a portable device in mint condition, replacing capacitors and using a new screen and all that stuff, along with a flash card, is an investment. And finding sometimes one of the retro consoles is also hard. We must add to this the fact that the experience is not always top-notch. Not all people have access to new screens and mods of that kind. The flash cards are easy to find, yes, but the rest, someone to replace the capacitors, faulty chips, new screens, reassemble it, it's not always easy or cheap. The Evercade, on the other hand, is the closest to the original experience, meaning that you get cartridges. You get actual cartridges. So yeah, that's, how did you get out? That's the closest to the real thing. But since we were talking about deep pockets, yeah, the Evercade solution is not expensive for the device itself, but if you want to build up a collection, well, that's a whole different thing. I know I talk about the cost factor a lot, but in this day and age, it's inevitable. So the Evercade is a different approach, let's say. It's wonderful, it's well built for me. I really enjoyed the pocket version, really. The screen is small but not too small, but you know, not large enough but not huge. It kind of hits the sweet spot. The Evercade XP, of course, has the Tate or Tate mode, which makes it unique, and the secret game function is also amazing. But still, you need to collect games like we did back in the old days, meaning, you know, pay up more cash. If you do have the ability, though, this is the golden line in between. Now, the Anbernics, for this day and age, and I reviewed Anbernic specifically, not INL or Retroid or that kind of stuff, because they do have a better variety of this whole relationship of cost to performance, to quality, you know. They are the most budget friendly, let's say it. The Anbernic, if you choose right, like this one, okay, the RG406V, you do get a wonderful experience. You get to emulate all the systems. It runs smoothly. It does have one disadvantage. We'll say about this in a minute. This one is a wonderful device. I fell in love with its screen right from the top, the RG40XXV, but it has serious issues with the operating systems and incompatibilities. That's mostly down to hardware upgrades that were done by Anbernic mid-life of the product. Now this, the old generation, was for many years the best solution. If you can still find one of these, the RG350, this is the M model, I believe that this knocks everything out of the park. As long as you don't want the big systems emulated, like PlayStation 2, you know, GameCube and stuff. But for really retro experience, this is a god. So, what's the end result? I do believe that the golden solution for nowadays and for these holidays, it's the Anbernic. It's the best solution if we compare costs, performance, quality. If you have a little higher budget and you like to collect the real thing, then the Evercade is a wonderful solution and a quality product that I definitely recommend. If you really want to go, you know, real retro hardcore, the original hardware with the flash cards are great, but be prepared to make a lot of repairs, a lot of restoration, and always be mindful that the device needs service from time to time if you want to keep it alive, and be ready to fetch out some more cash. Well, that was it from me. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you again in 2026, 2nd of the month, with the first hardware review of the new year. See ya! Welcome to the Christmas DOS Vault Reviews. Boy, do we have special things for you today. We begin with Mini Doom 2 by Calaveras Studio for PC Windows. Now this is a platform version of the classic Doom game, and boy, what a conversion it is. You play classically as the Doom Slayer, or the Doom Marine as it's still early in the story, and you have to face the hordes of hell in a platform game that tries to move all the classic stages of Doom into this form. The game is quite amazing. The graphics are detailed, the animation is great, the controls are spot on, and the action, wow! This is an amazing game and also an amazing idea. You will find everything here and then some. All the classic weapons, some new weapons like grenades. I guess they took some ideas from the GZ Doom. Now all the sounds and the music are converted and resampled for higher clarity. Now as you can see, all the monsters and the enemies of the classic Doom are here, along with the weapons. On to the rankings, and the graphics receive a 9.4. The controls a 9.1. The gameplay a 9.5. And music and sound effects a 9.6 for a total of 9.4. This is one of the most amazing conversions we've ever seen. Kudos to the creators. Now our second game is even more unique than the first. This is Effulgence RPG by Andrei Fomin. This is a unique concept where the creator has used ASCII characters to create the graphics and environments of the game. And as you can see, the end result is simply amazing. This game packs some of the best graphics and animation we've ever seen. The gameplay is that of a turn-based RPG, albeit with a lot of characteristics borrowed from various games of the genre. You get to upgrade your character, equip him, visit shops, and even meet many new characters that will either assist you or try to stop you on your feet. Everything and everyone has a special persona. Even the monsters sometimes will start conversations with you, mocking you or trying to understand what you're doing in their world. There is a story behind the game and it's not too shabby. The controls are really simple. The music is also amazing. Of course, the star of the game is this unbelievable graphic style. I personally think this is one of the best games I've reviewed so far, full of wonderful ideas. On to the rankings, and the graphics receive a 9.7. The controls a 9.1. The music and sound effects a 9.4. And the gameplay a 9.4 as well, for a total of 9.4, and the title of the Special Christmas Award. An amazing game that you shouldn't miss. For our retrospect today, we remember a quite unique, weird and amazing game. This is MDK by Shiny Entertainment. This game implements various styles of action, FPS, shooting, action-adventure. It's quite a unique blend. Now, you play as Kurt Hectic, a janitor who tries to save Earth utilizing a special chute provided by him by Dr. Fluke Hawkins, an eccentric scientist. The suit gives you access to various weapons, including some really unique or weird ones, such as the pocket nuclear device. The graphics of the game were quite advanced for those days, and an early sample of 3D graphics, although it was utilizing software rendering and required quite a lot of horsepower. The music and sound effect is really good and sometimes a bit weird. The gameplay is addictive and with a good level of difficulty. The story also packs a great sense of sardonic, as it was called, humor. This was an early hit in the 3D graphics category, and the game received quite positive reviews from the press. The graphics in this game will receive a 9.2, the controls a 9, the music and sound effects a 9.1, and the gameplay a 9.4, for a total of 9.2. MDK was a special game that left a mark on the gaming era of the 90s, and we definitely recommend you revisit it or play it if you haven't did the first time. It's quite a unique experience, and we're certain that you are going to enjoy it. Welcome to the Retro Adventures review, and this is If on a Winter's Night for Travelers, an adventure game by Laura Hunt. This is a narrative-driven point-and-click adventure game with the events taking part in the late 1920s. The game has a very unique style, and even though it utilizes pixel art, there is something distinct about the graphics. Maybe the atmosphere, I'm not sure, but that gives a different style than most adventure games. The atmosphere is airy and amazing. The graphics are well drawn with an incredible palette. Now, the game is separated by 4 distinct parts. The first one being the silent room, the second the slow vanishing of Lady Windenburn, the third the nameless ritual, and the fourth If on a Winter's Night. Now, I must give fair warning here that the stories in each chapter are on the adult side, meaning that for me the game should be played by adults or teens above the age of 16. It does touches some sensitive matters, albeit I must say that it explores this subject in an excellent way, and I must give congratulations to Laura Hunt for the amazing story. Now, like I said, the graphics and the animation is excellent. The user interface is very simple. It's a simplified version of the Sierra interface, but no icons are used here, just point and click. The music provides the atmosphere of that era and is also quite incredible. This game is quite unique, and it's closer to an experience than just a game. The dialogues are well written, and the characters are extremely interesting, almost fascinating, I dare say. Now, the rankings are as follows. The graphics will receive a 9.4. The controls a 9.1. The puzzles a 9.5. And the music and sound effects a 9.3, for a total of 9.3. This is an amazing adventure game that really separates itself from the pack. I definitely suggest you give it a go. You will not be disappointed. For a retrospect today, we are revisiting one of my personal favorite Sierra Online adventure games. This is the wacky adventures of Roger Wilco in the continuing saga of Space Quest. This is Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Reapers. Now, if you have played a Space Quest before, you do know that it's a satire of many sci-fi adventure games and TV or movie series. Roger Wilco is a hapless and hopeless hero, but that's what makes him so charming. Space Quest 4 utilized for the first time the new Sierra interface with 256 colors and an exclusively icon-driven menu. Now, the game is far more simple to play than the old Sierra interpreter. Of course, all the wacky jokes and the bitter humor is still here. The graphics are especially well drawn and with amazing animation, just adding to the comedy. The music and sound effects are also really great and funny. There is a speech edition if you would buy the CD-ROM version of the game, and it's really incredible. The voice acting is on an extremely professional level. The story is interesting and, of course, very, very funny. The game also offers a new series of crazy deaths for Roger Wilco. So funny that sometimes you intentionally die in the game just to see some sort of new crazy death. Now, the graphics of the game are awarded a 9.4. The puzzles of the game, an 8.7. The controls of the game, a 9. And the music and sound effects, a 9.2. For a total of 9.1.
It is Xenon. It's really a pile. Along with the changes induced by an armed conflict, the city looks different.
At the time, this was Roger Wilco's wackiest and funnier adventure yet, and with a wonderful presentation. If you enjoy a good comedy game, like we said, don't miss out on this one. It's gonna provide you with a lot of hours of fun, and you'll get to save the galaxy. Well, sort of. Welcome to the Christmas special history lesson, and today we're concluding the War series of lessons. If you ask a lot of people which one was the greatest war in computer and video games history, if they were born in the late 80s, they will probably say the Nintendo versus Sega war. But before that, there was an epic war to end all wars for computer game domination. This is the epic Amiga versus Atari war. Back in early 1984, Atari Corporation was in ruins. The company, now owned by Warner Bros., has managed to ruin its good name and legacy in the hands of corporate goons by allowing oversaturation of the market with shovelware and halting the advancement of video game technology by introducing half-made products. This resulted in the catastrophic 1983 American video game industry crash that resulted in millions of dollars in costs and thousands of jobs lost across the industry that vanished overnight in a black hole. Warner, now incapable or unwilling to restore the company to its former glory, was looking to get rid of the computer's manufacturing division, keeping only the arcade part of the company that was still very profitable. Meanwhile, in another part of the US, a power struggle at Commodore resulted in the ousting of Jack Tramiel from his own company by Irving Gould, longtime investor and head of board that was in firm belief that Jack's price wars that we saw a few episodes back risked the company greatly. Jack took his share and vowed to take vengeance at his former company as he's left. Following this plan, Jack ended up buying his former adversary's computers division. The deal was sealed officially on the 17th of May 1984, and Atari Corporation was reborn from its ashes, briefly named Trammell Technology Limited, ready to bring Jack's wrath upon his enemies. But to do that, Jack and reborn Atari needed a new weapon, something that would shake the very foundations of the industry. Jack had already reformed the company greatly to secure funds for a new project, as he wouldn't make the same mistake he made with Irving Gould all those years ago and bring in a fund provider to support his plans, losing a portion of the company to him. He retired the 800 XL and the 600 XL 8-bit systems in favor of a new unified platform, the 130 XE. He halted all production of the Atari 5200 in favor of a budget redesign of the Atari 2600 Junior, set to be released in 1986. Finally, the forgotten Atari 7800 was brought out of the drawing board vault and was sent to the production line for a 1986 release as well, to go head-to-head with Nintendo's NES, that was already on its way to reinvigorate the video game market. In the meantime, the remaining stock of Atari 2600 was thrown into the market at a huge discount to keep the company afloat. All these, of course, were byproducts and small projects that were used for the higher purpose of funding and supporting development of the platform that would be Atari's future. Initial plan included the manufacturing of an amazing prototype that Jack had funded through an Atari loan to a small company named Toro for the development of a system that Atari intended to name 1850XLD. Jack, being Jack of course, took his time delaying the necessary final payments to Toro, renamed now as the Amiga Corporation, to bring the small company to its knees and take full control of the project for next to nothing. The Amiga Corporation, a small company formed by Jay Miner, R.J. McCall, and Dale Luck around the Lorraine Super Console project, was kept afloat by selling small peripherals and budget video games. They had no power to fight Jack and Atari, and it seemed like the writing was on the wall. Enter Jack's nemesis and old partner, Irving Gould, and Commodore. Commodore, having been left without a product development direction since Jack's departure, because most of the prolific Commodore engineers followed Jack when he left for Atari, and was looking for a system to help them re-enter the market before Commodore 64 became redundant. In an amazing coup d'etat move, Commodore delivered to Amiga Corporation a check for $500,000, an amount way above the loan they received from Atari, effectively providing them with the means to repay Jack and finish their product. Of course, this did not go well with Jack, who led Commodore to court, but that did not lead to a victory, only to an out-of-court settlement and some reparations paid by Commodore to Atari in 1987. The whole situation left, of course, Jack without a ready system again. He then turned on one of his lead engineers, Shiraz Shivji, to develop a new system from scratch, but using components off the shelf, to keep costs low both for the company and for the end user. The system was going to be, nonetheless, based pretty much on the Lorraine philosophy, using many of the ideas found in it. By approximation, as Atari no longer had access to the project. Thus, Atari ST was born. On June 1985, the Atari 520 ST, the firstborn of the ST range of computers, was introduced to the world, and the 16-bit era of computers began. The system had a powerful Motorola 68000 processor, clocked at 8 MHz, and a huge amount of 512 kilobytes of RAM that could be upgraded to 4 MB. Initial systems, though, came with a 256 kilobytes of RAM, but that quickly faded out of production. The first systems out on the market also came with an external 3.5 inches floppy disk drive, but that also changed within a few months with an integrated one. The computer packed also the famous YM2149F sound chipset, an evolved variation of the sound chipset found in ZX Spectrum 128K and Amstrad CPC. The computer also had a unique characteristic that would become a major selling point for the ST series for the years to come: an integrated MIDI interface that would allow the connection of electronic musical keyboards and other instruments, allowing immediate synthesis or compositions and leading the system to become a platform of choice amongst many famous 80s and 90s musicians. The graphic capabilities of the systems were quite impressive as well, with the ability to display graphics at resolutions of 320 by 200 with 16 colors on screen up to 640 to 400 monochrome mode. The system was also a powerful gaming machine. All this was controlled by the TOS, meaning the operating system, or as it became known, Tramiel operating system, a graphics icon mouse-driven OS developed in-house as a blend of Digital Research's GEM environment and MS-DOS philosophy. The market was over the top with the new Atari ST. In the US stock market, everyone said that Jack Tramiel accomplished the most spectacular company turnaround in history, taking the blemished and shamed Atari name and turning it into the name of the company that started a new era of home computing across the globe, effectively making systems like Macintosh and IBM PC look redundant. The computer games industry also embraced the new system. Priced at $799 as opposed to Macintosh's $2,495 and IBM PC's $1,565, for twice the power and characteristics, the Atari ST was a dream game system. Computer games for the system kept on coming, and the industry started shifting from the old guard of ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, and Commodore 64 to the new kid on the block, the 16-bit Atari ST. Finally, Jack's motto became a reality: computers for the masses, not the classes. But Nemesis was about to strike. Commodore, having secured the rights to the Lorraine project, allowed Amiga Corporation to finish developing the platform using Commodore's resources, and finally, in July 1985, the Amiga computer by Commodore was introduced. In a fancy presentation on Lincoln Center in New York City that utilized the talents of pop artist Andy Warhol and Blondie's lead singer Debbie Harry, the first Amiga model, renamed before circulation as Amiga 1000, was shown to public, making a huge impression. The custom chipset technologies integrated on the Amiga, a trademark of the three fathers of the system, and especially Jay Miners, who was instrumental in development of the legendary Atari VCS chipsets as well, left the audience at awe. The system could talk, animate at amazing speed and detail, play incredible tunes, and draw unbelievably detailed graphics. packing an 68,000 Motorola just like its opponent, clocked at 7.16 MHz and equipped with 256 KB of RAM, upgradable to a stunning 8.5 MB, the system was powerful. It came with a custom graphics chipset, later renamed OCS for Original Chipset. It could display 320 by 256 or 320 by 512 with 32 or 62 colors on screen from a palette of 4,096 colors. It was also capable of displaying 640 by 256 and up to 640 to 512 with 16 colors on screen. The audio capabilities were equally impressive with the Pola chipset that could handle 4-channel audio on 8-bit PCM with 28 kHz DMA sampling rate, delivering an amazing music and sound quality unheard of back then. The system also came with a 3.5-inch 880 KB floppy disk drive and of course a mouse. But the most impressive characteristic by far was the preemptive multitasking OS named Workbench, the first of its kind, and predecessor to all of today's multitasking OSs. The only problem for Amiga was the price. The system cost a whopping $1,285, bringing it closer to the IBM PC price range than that of the competition and making it way more expensive than its major antagonist, the Atari ST. The first couple of years were not kind to Amiga. The system was marketed as a refined business and educational computer, completely missing the point. While the Atari ST was going from strength to strength, the Amiga was limited to poor ports of Atari games and shoddy educational software with very few applications, such as the legendary Deluxe Paint, really showing off the true face of the Amiga. Atari had become the market leader, with yearly profits turnarounds counting in millions of dollars, whilst Commodore, with the poor misplacement of an amazing product, was at a $237 million US3 quarter loss. It wasn't until this man, Thomas Radigan, took over as CEO in 1986 that the battle had turned. Radigan quickly spotted the problems with the Amiga product and ordered some important new directions. First, the Amiga model was split into two different variations, the Amiga 500 and the Amiga 2000. The Amiga 500 was the heavy weapon of the Commodore strategy from now on. The system came in a new case, resembling the Commodore 128 and following that all-in-one logic. It had the same processor, Motorola 68000, running at the same speed, an upgraded 512 KB of RAM, upgradable to 9 MB. The integrated ROM with a kickstart BIOS was upgraded to the far more stable version that ironed out the multiple bugs of the earlier Amiga 1000 versions, bringing the current version to 1.2. The Amiga OS Workbench was also upgraded to a more stable and attractive form. The system came with an integrated 3.5-inch 880 KB floppy disk drive and a TV modulator, allowing it to connect to any CRT TV found in every household. The graphics system of the OCS was slightly upgraded, now capable of displaying up to 768 by 580 overscan interlaced images with HUM and EHP modes, now available, that allowed even 4096 colors on screen, albeit to a still image. The Amiga 500 also came with two Atari standard joystick ports, a mouse, and a convenient upgrade trapdoor, that provided easy installation of various boards, such as memory expansions, real-time clocks, and others. All these changes brought with them the most major one yet, a price drop due to the smaller all-in-one factor to a way more affordable than Amiga 1000's $699, undercutting even the Atari 520 ST. Ratigan, to keep the more professional users close by as well, introduced the second model in the face of the Amiga 2000, an IBM PC-styled Amiga in a vertical ATX kind of case that could be upgraded utilizing various ISA-style slots and capable of receiving through these slots CPU upgrades, graphics cards, network adapters, even PC compatibility boards. It came with 1 MB of RAM, and whilst the rest of the system was identical to the 500 model, the open architecture of the case and of the mainboard allowed more professional use. As such, the system was marketed at $1,495 but this was a Pro model, one must keep in mind. There was one thing to be rectified still, and that was the Amiga image on the market. Because of the way Amiga was marketed so far, most of the people considered it a professional or educational system and looked to the Atari 520 ST for gaming and fun. But it was apparent once more, just as it happened in the 8-bit wars almost a decade before, that the system with the best computer games won the day. The answer came not from the mother company Commodore US, but rather from the biggest European Commodore branch, Commodore UK. The amazing CEO of Commodore UK, David Pleasance, saw an opportunity before Christmas of 1989 with the incredible success of Batman the movie. Batman reinvigorated the movie's business after a decade of underwhelming performances in the box office due to VHS success, and legendary UK games developer Ocean, word was on the street, had secured early rights to an exclusive computer game. It is hard to describe the Batman mania of those days, and anyone who was able to ride on that mania on the Christmas of 1989 was sure to hit gold. Thus, Commodore UK came to a deal with Ocean to include an exclusive Amiga version of the game based on Batman the movie in an Amiga 500 Batman Christmas pack on time for the festive season. The gamble worked. After the holiday season of Christmas of '89, Amiga began outselling the Atari 520 ST on a factor that reached even a 4-to-1 system. The Batman game demonstrated accurately the differences between the two systems for the first time, and the game developers took notice, shifting focus from Atari to Amiga and reversing the situation. During the 1990 period, most games on the Atari 520 ST were now ports of the Amiga version and not the other way around. More companies jumped on the Amiga wagon, such as the legendary Psygnosis with the amazing Shadow of the Beast, packing incredible graphics and an unbelievable soundtrack. I mean, listen to this! Wow! The Atari 520 ST version that came later only made the differences on the hardware capabilities more obvious and painful for Atari. The war was on, and on the playgrounds the old feuds of the 8-bit era were replaced now by the Amiga versus Atari argument. The Amiga players brought to the table the superior graphics, smooth parallax scrolling supported by the amazing Amiga Bleeder chip, and the incredible sound, whilst the Atari players pointed out the unique MIDI interface and the superior speed of the Atari along with a PC compatibility. And what about Jack? Was he about to let his old nemesis Irving win so easily? Hell no! Atari had already introduced the STF/STFM range with integrated TV modulator, something the original Atari 520 ST lacked, and a double-sided floppy drive along with a 1 MB RAM upgrade in the 1040 STFM model at a price of $999. Atari also brought to the market the professional Mega ST range with 1, 2 or 4 MB of RAM versions, detachable keyboard, vertical separated case for the main system, and even an optional 20 MB hard disk drive for the price of $1,700 up to $2,400 depending on the configuration. But the biggest upgrade was about to come from late 1989 to early 1990 with the introduction of the Atari 520 STE and 1040 STE range of computers. The new STE range brought to the Atari line of computers the much sought-after Bleeder chipset upgrade, new graphics mode that allowed, with a few programming tricks, to display 32 colors on screen from an upgraded palette of 4096 colors up from ST's 512. It also had Genlock support for advanced video editing, an area that the Amiga seemed to dominate, and enhanced PCM audio capabilities. The system also had the joystick ports brought from under the computer to the side for easier access, albeit in a new form of the enhanced joystick ports later used in the Jaguar console, although a connector interface allowed the classic joystick to be connected as well. The upgrade was substantial, but was it enough? Unfortunately for Atari, no. The STE range had some major incompatibility with older software and games, some of them prolific titles. The sound upgrade, even though it was a welcome one, it still couldn't hold a candle to Amiga's amazing sound capabilities. Also, the market has now shifted so much towards Amiga that the changes in the STE line were considered too little too late to receive developers' attention once more, so only a handful of titles ever used the new STE capabilities. As we drew close to the end of 1991, and with Amiga being the absolute ruler of the home computer market, Commodore started on a path of upgrades and meaningless moves that would see the fall of the platform as well as the company itself in a spectacular fashion. On October of that year, Amiga 500 Plus was introduced to the market, an enhanced model of the original 500 with only minor changes such as a standard 1 MB of RAM and some minor improvements to the graphics chipset that was renamed as ECS for Enhanced Chipset. It also upgraded the Kickstart BIOS version to 2.04 and came with a standard built-in real-time battery-operated clock. But this upgrade brought more problems than gifts. The ECS had major incompatibilities with many famous games, leading customers to the installation of custom boards that allowed switching between the old and the new Kickstart. Additionally, many games would boot up but play with artifacts on screen or weird behavior. To make matters worse, just as the market started looking past these problems and warming up to the 500 Plus, the system was discontinued and quickly replaced by the baffling Amiga 600. Designed initially as a laptop, a project abandoned later, the 600 was effectively an Amiga 500 Plus with an integrated HDD connector, a PCMCIA port, and no numeric keypad, owing that to the fact that it was initially born as a laptop. There was also an Amiga 600 HD that came with an ID hard disk drive pre-installed, bringing with it all the 500 Plus incompatibility and with a price a bit higher than the classic 500 model at the time, at US $499, It was a system no one asked for, and that was so apparent on the sales impact. In the Pro line, Amiga fared much better for a while, with Amiga 3000 becoming what is now considered the best Amiga iteration ever. With a 68030 Motorola CPU clocked at 16 or 25 MHz, 2 MB of RAM upgradable up to 128 MB, video modes that could reach even at 1280 by 512 with 4 on-screen colors, along with all the other Amiga modes, the same amazing sound, internal hard disk drives that could go as high as 100 MB, multitude of upgrade slots and the ECS chipset, later replaced in the 3000T model with the new and highly advanced AGA chipset. This was a behemoth of dream machine. It was priced, of course, at approximately $3,400, but it packed so much power that it quickly became standard in many TV stations worldwide and even some Hollywood studios. For those who could afford it, also, it was the game's dreams machine. Atari, trying to keep up with Commodore, brought out the Atari TT-030 computer, a purely professional model. It came with a powerful Motorola 68030 like an Amiga 3000, but clocked at a whopping 32 MHz and was equipped with either 2 MB or 16 MB of RAM. It had a 1.44 MB floppy disk drive and 50 MB hard disk drive. It also came with either a very high-resolution monochrome monitor or a VGA color one. An upgraded YM2149 sound chipset provided stereo 8-bit PCM sound, and its graphics capabilities could go as high as 1280 by 960 in monochrome mode, or 320 by 480 with 256 colors on screen from a palette of 4096. Surely it was a beast of a machine, but priced also at $3,000, it was like the Amiga 3000, a machine for pros or rich folks. By 1992, it started to become apparent that the two companies were so into competing each other that they failed to notice the new threat rising on the horizon. The once bulky and primitive grey box that was called IBM PC, now through an army of compatible iterations and with numerous upgrades, including but not limited to the VGA and Super VGA graphics adapters, the Sound Blaster sound card, the cheaper RAM and hard disk drives, and of course the full support of the rising force that was Microsoft, was becoming more and more powerful and user-friendly, slowly but steadily drawing the attention of the game's developers. On 21st of October 1992, Commodore made a late attempt to keep its crown that was quickly slipping through its fingers. It introduced the amazing but late to the party Amiga 1200, along with its bigger sister, the Amiga 4000. These were 32-bit computers equipped with a Motorola 68EC020 processor at 14 MHz for the Amiga 1200 and a 68EC030 at 25 MHz or a 68EC040 at the same speed for the Amiga 4000. The Amiga 1200 came with 2 MB of standard RAM, upgradable to 8 MB of fast RAM. The new AGA, or Advanced Graphics chipset, was capable of resolutions of up to 1280 by 512 with 256 colors on screen from a palette of 16.8 million colors. The sound was pretty much the same, but the system was now capable of supporting out of the box the connection of an internal common 2.5 inches hard disk drive and a RAM upgrade through the PCMCIA port up to 4 MB of additional RAM. The new Kickstart ROM 3.0 was stable and fast, and the Workbench OS had evolved into the Amiga OS 3, a new and powerful operating system based on the Workbench and Kickstart combination. The Amiga 4000 could be upgraded to a whopping 128 MB of RAM and came in an ATX tower case that allowed the new open architecture motherboard upgrades through a series of upgrade slots. Again priced at almost $3,700, it was clearly a professional machine. But it wasn't a machine, rather a game that broke the two competitors. On May 5, 1992, a small software team named id brought out a game named Wolfenstein 3D that introduced the world to the amazing 3D FPS genre, and along with it, the path to the 3D graphics chipsets were opened. The newly revived PC platform could run the game easily, but the developers claimed that such a game in the old guard of the Amiga, Atari platforms, and at that speed with such graphics, was way too hard to achieve. In all fairness, there were a few solid attempts, especially in Amiga, with games such as Gloom or Alien Breed 3D. But these usually required heavy upgrades to the standard model that cost anything from a few hundred to a few $1,000s, and that changed the landscape completely. When run into the vanilla hardware, the result was very slow and extremely ugly. Amiga's and Atari's architectures were not designed to implement the 3D revolution that was on the way, and it would seem that the writing was on the wall. Both companies set their rivalry aside for a while in an attempt to survive. Commodore tried to turn its fates around with the, to be honest, quite good CD32 console, only to be stopped on its feet by a lack of cash and a debt to the Philippine manufacturing company that brought the company down in the end. Atari also tried to survive with a couple of new systems. First, it brought out the successor to the entire STE/TT range, the ill-fated but still amazing Atari Falcon 030. Utilizing the far more powerful than Amiga 1200's 68 EC20, Motorola 68030 at 16 MHz combined with a Motorola 56001 microprocessor at 32 MHz. This was a force to be reckoned with. It came in three configurations of 1, 4 or 14 MB of RAM, combined with graphics capabilities that go up to 320 by 480, with 32,768 colors on screen, or true Super VGA mode with 640 by 4080 and 256 on-screen colors from a palette of 262,144. The machine came of course with a Bleeder graphics co-processor at 16 MHz and new 16-bit audio SDMA sound, including a Y3439F chipset as well for backwards compatibility. It had an internal 2.5 inches hard disk drive, CD-ROM connection capability, a 1.44 MB floppy disk drive of course, a MIDI interface and a variety of ports, including even a local talk compatible LAN port. Truly an amazing machine that failed for one reason alone: lack of cash. You see, Atari had already spent the last remaining funds on the other project, the Atari Jaguar, that proved to be a black hole of money consumption. In the end, both machines were discontinued, with Falcon 030 especially ending its life in less than a year, and eventually Atari itself fell as well to the might of the rising PC platform. It is fair to say that the Amiga vs Atari war was the last war fought by two of the very same companies that were part of the progenitors of the computer and video game market. And by the end of the war, and with the fall of the two companies, there came the end of the classical era, and along with it, the end of the home and microcomputer genre. The two systems live nowadays through the emulation scene and in many new retro games that come out for both systems every year and help us remember what was some of the best of times to be a gamer.